Today, we got Spider-Man taking on a Gorgon. Who comes on top? Well, let's find out. Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider as a teenager, granting him spider-like powers. After the death of his Uncle Ben, which he could have prevented, Peter learned that with great power comes great responsibility. Swearing to always protect the innocent from harm, Peter Parker became the Amazing Spider-Man. Peter has the proportionate strength of a spider, and is able to lift over 10 tons easily. He's able to go toe-to-toe with villains like Venom and Rhino, and has even held his own against Iron Man and Hulk. When in stressful situations, Spider-Man is able to lift much more, even supporting the Daily Bugle at one point, and he stopped an airplane before. Spider-Man has incredible durability, and is able to withstand blows from Hulk and Rhino, buildings collapsing on him, and even the explosion from hand grenades. Peter is so tough that he once tensed his abdominal muscles against a trained boxer, and the boxer ended up breaking his wrist. However, Spider-Man isn't nearly as durable to penetrative forces, and he can still be hurt by knives and bullets. He possesses the speed, agility, and reflexes of a spider. And really, this is probably one of Spider-Man's greatest assets. He's been described as fast as machine gun fire, and can move faster than the human eye can follow. And he's been described as the most agile character in the Marvel Universe, and can easily dodge bullets and projectiles. One of Spider-Man's most famous abilities is his spider sense, which kind of functions as a sixth sense. It allows him to sense when danger is incoming. The spider sense, plus his speed, agility, and reflexes, make Spider-Man nearly impossible to hit. Peter is able to crawl along walls and other surfaces, and this ability also allows him to hold several tons with a single finger. Peter's most famous equipment are his web shooters, which he can use as a means of transportation, ensnaring opponents, and shooting small web bullets. Peter is an excellent fighter, and was trained by Shang-Chi, a unique form of martial arts that perfectly utilizes his spider powers, called the Way of the Spider. Then, in the other corner of Gorgon, Tomi Shishido is a mutant extremist that formed the Dawn of the White Light cult. He has also served as a high-ranking official of the Hand and Hydra. Shishido ranks among the most skilled swordsmen of the world. Now, Gorgon is a powerful mutant, and he's got a number of superhuman abilities, both natural and enchanted, and he's been able to combat and beat skilled assassins like Elektra and Wolverine. Tomi was blessed with a number of mutant powers that he was either born with or eventually grew into through time, age, and experience. His primary power is his stone vision, which allows him to turn anyone who makes eye contact with him into stone. When he first gained this ability, he actually used it on his own family, killing them and proving to the Hand that he was willing to do anything. The Gorgon also possesses telepathy, which allows him to read minds and predict moves in battle. And he's a polymathic genius, and had superhuman levels of intelligence as a child. Then, due to his death and resurrection, Gorgon now boasts a lot of new abilities and powers. He's got a healing factor that greatly supplements his fighting style, as even while Wolverine was slicing and tearing chunks of flesh from him, Gorgon could still outmove and defeat him rather easily. He can lift 1 or 2 tons, outpace Wolverine, and move over 100 miles per hour, and his body actually produces considerably less fatigue toxin, so that he can fight for 24 hours and keep on going. Gorgon is also superhumanly durable, as his body tissues are vastly enhanced and superior, and he can resist a grenade exploding in his face, multiple stabs from Wolverine, and chi-enhanced strikes from Shang-Chi. Tomi is one of the deadliest fighters on Earth, and has been able to defeat both Wolverine and Elektra at the same time, even though they had the advantage of preparation and unleash a sneak attack. Gorgon has also beaten Shang-Chi. He's actually battled against embested Phobos, the god of fear, in combat. He's also a master swordsman, and has been able to slice bullets in half with his katana, and was even able to chop off the hands of a super speedster while battling 3 other opponents at the same time. So who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, physically, Spider-Man's obviously got the strength advantage. Gorgon limped around 1 to 2 tons, but that can't compare with Peter. Spider-Man has spun a 3-ton wrecking ball over his head, lifted a subway car, held up a construction crane, supported a private jet in its landing, and pulled down a building with his webs. I mean, they're obviously on 2 completely different levels. That means that Peter is going to be unleashing more powerful punches as well. Even if Spider-Man doesn't go all out and holds back some, which he will, he is a hero after all, his punches are going to be real effective. Some of his punches have hit with more power than a mortar. He's created small craters in the road, and he knocked out Tombstone with 1 punch, and Tombstone has taken a rocket launcher before. But really, on the other hand, strength shouldn't be too much of a problem for Gorgon to overcome, because he's not going to be just fighting hand to hand. We'll circle back around to this point later on, but Gorgon always fights with his sword, and Spider-Man isn't necessarily durable to sword strikes. Speaking of durability, Gorgon has an impressive durability and a nice healing factor to boot. Like, he's been stabbed multiple times by Wolverine and Elektra, but he continued fighting. He's taken RPGs, powerful punches from Rockwell that created massive craters in the ground, and all of Shang-Chi's attacks just made Gorgon smile. I would actually say that Gorgon might be more durable than Spider-Man, considering that he's got a better healing factor, and Peter has no noticeable durability to piercing attacks. That's not to say that Pete isn't durable though. He's taken punches from Hulk and Rhino, survived grenades or missiles exploding at close range, and Punisher hasn't been able to injure him with his punches, and men have actually broken their hands just by punching Spider-Man. However, talking about physicality, speed is really close between these two. Definitely the most important aspect of this fight. What I want to spend most of the fight talking about. So let's start taking a look at Gorgon. Tommy's established that he's a beyond casual bullet timer, as he's consistently deflected gunfire from S.H.I.E.L.D. agents with his sword, even going so far as to pull a full 360 and swing his sword around fast enough to deflect machine gun fire back at the agents. And then there's the yo-yo feat, where she was moving at supersonic speeds, and Gorgon was still able to react to her, swinging his sword fast enough to chop off her hand while she was in the air. Then look at his battles against Wolverine, Elektra, and Shang-Chi. Elektra is fast enough to consistently deflect machine gun fire with her size, and she's even kicked a sniper bullet out of the air. Shang-Chi has dodged bullets just inches from his face with absolutely no effort, and he's danced around Zeron, a guy who he himself is fast enough to casually deflect automatic gunfire like it's nothing. Wolverine has even intercepted gunfire, ran to the shooter right after he shot the bullet, and proceeded to cut the gun apart before another bullet could leave the muzzle. He was moving so fast in his fight with Sabretooth that Psylocke was having a difficult time keeping up with him, and both Spider-Man and Kane have even remarked on how fast Logan is. And in all of their fights against Gorgon, Tommy danced around them, blitzed them, and just made these bullet timers look like they're slow. That is just crazy. Just an insane level of speed. But even though Gorgon is faster than Shang-Chi, Elektra, and Wolverine, Spider-Man has consistently proven himself to be faster than those heroes as well. I mean, Peter's moved out of the way of handgun bullets after it was fired, dodged machine gun bullets after they were fired, dodged assault rifles after they were fired, and actually moved people out of the way of sniper fire after the bullet had already been fired. Then Spider-Man has been able to casually outpace and blitz Black Panther and Daredevil. And T'Challa has consistently proven himself to be faster than Logan, and Daredevil has proven himself to be quicker than Elektra. Peter's even able to tag and react to Speed Demon, who is just as fast, if not faster, than Yo-Yo. So I really think it's safe to say that Gorgon is a whole lot faster than a lot of people realize. But still, gotta give the edge to Spider-Man. Because Peter is not just proving himself to be faster, but also a whole lot more agile than Gorgon. And he's got his spider sense as well. So, physically, gotta give the edge to Spider-Man. However, Gorgon is the much better fighter, and is a whole lot more skilled than Peter. I mean, look at it this way. Spider-Man was trained by Shang-Chi in the way of the spider. And even though Peter has got some skill, Shang-Chi is still a much better and more skilled fighter. Well, in Shang-Chi's fight against Gorgon, Gorgon toyed with him for a little bit, then took him seriously, and absolutely dominated Shang-Chi. On top of that, Gorgon schooled both Wolverine and Elektra at the same time. And in a different fight, Wolverine specifically said that he couldn't outskill Gorgon, and Logan is one of the most skilled fighters in the Marvel Universe. And then Gorgon is just as skilled with his sword as he is hand-to-hand. And since Peter isn't really that durable to piercing attacks, Gorgon could end the fight with one strike. All this isn't even mentioning Gorgon's mutant powers either. He's a low-level telepath, and Wolverine says that Gorgon can predict moves in combat. He's also able to turn people into stone with just a gaze, and can use this power in a battle. However, with all this, I actually think Spider-Man is coming out on top. I think Peter wins this one. Let's start taking a deeper look at Gorgon's mutant powers. For starters, he usually keeps his powers restrained behind glasses or a mask. And since he'll never make direct eye contact with Peter because of his Spider-Man mask, his mutant powers might not even work on him. Gorgon has also instructed Elektra to close her eyes and turn away, showing that his mutant powers can be avoided just by looking away or closing your eyes. And Spider-Man has fought Gorgon before, and actually knew about how Gorgon had beaten Wolverine and Elektra at the same time, implying a deep understanding of the villain's history. Odds are he knows all about Gorgon's stone vision, and will simply close his eyes if he sees Gorgon take out the mask or glasses. And Peter has fought several times, either with his eyes closed or while he was blinded, relying on his powerful spider sense to keep him in the fight. And actually, Spider-Man sometimes does better in fights when he has to close his eyes, because it forces him to stop joking around and instantly take the fight more seriously. Like in his fight against Daken, Spider-Man was getting beaten at the beginning of the fight, because Daken's pheromones were messing with his vision, making him see multiple Dakens, and seeing Daken where he wasn't, and things like that. So Spider-Man just closed his eyes, and quickly smashed his opponent in just a few moves. Then, with Gorgon's telepathy, that allows him to know an opponent's move, Peter said before that his reflexes are so sharp that he acts before he thinks. That was in his battle against Moondragon, and Peter's also resisted more powerful telepaths than Gorgon. Then with his spider sense and superior speed, Spider-Man should be able to dodge Gorgon's sword, and in fact, he's done it before in the brief fight. End of the day, Spider-Man should be able to win just because he's fought a lot greater threats on a daily basis and been a whole lot more consistent of a fighter himself. Because while we've been talking about all the joys of Gorgon, the truth is, in recent years, Aunt May could probably beat Gorgon, much less Spider-Man, because Gorgon has gone down with one shot to Daredevil. He was easily beaten by powerless and heavily damaged Hercules. And don't even get me started on his appearances in Old Man Logan. Spider-Man has been a whole lot more consistent throughout the years, is physically superior and faster, and he's coming out on top here. Spider-Man wins. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. To sign off in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe button. More videos just one every single weekday. And I'll see you next time.